Hello, everyone, and welcome to Meow Mix, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven.
My name is Jerry.
And we are here with another off-season episode. We're going to try to do more of these this year
We're going
than
to
we did
try.
last year. Last year, we definitely, I think we went, I don't even know how long it was, like 2 months between podcasts or something last year.
No,
So we're
it
not
was
going
like
to do that
it
to
was
you guys.
it was like a month, but I think we are also completely drained out of the
Last year,
Panthers.
it was a tough season last year. Or the year before, I should say.
Yeah. Now we have
Yeah.
hope. There's like a glimmer
Yeah.
of hope here in this Carolina. We're like, yeah.
Don't say it too loud, though.
Yeah.
We don't want to scare it away. But there are some things to talk about. Well, first of all, Jerry, we're what 2 weeks out from the draft now. Any changes in how you feel about any of our picks or anything? Still pretty high on the draft class.
Yeah, I'm pretty
No,
high on the draft
yeah.
class. Still like it. Still have the Trevor Etienne pick is still kind of questionable. I get, especially with some of the moves they made today, I get what they were thinking, but I felt like they could have gone somewhere else and maybe gotten our running back of equal value, in my opinion, later on. But hey,
Well, yeah. One of the moves today for sure kind of lends a little more clarity to that pick, I think.
yeah. We'll go ahead and tell it.
Yeah.
Jonathan Brooks put on the PUP list already, so he is out for the season. I am completely understanding and respect that decision to go ahead and turn off that engine. Get him that full year and a half of rest on that ACL. Get him back healthy at the beginning of next year. I think that's what you had to do instead of trying to. He would probably try to force himself back out there earlier, just like most players do. So,
Like he may have done last year. Right?
yeah.
I mean, even though it seemed like there was enough time, everybody is different, especially when it comes to that injury. And again, this will be well over a year and a half, I guess, between the time the injury started and when he'll actually begin
Yeah.
football or playing football again. So hopefully he comes back all right. But the people that have gone through this many of that injury at that position and still have had successful careers, it's pretty rare, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's happened. I think Todd Gurley probably, but I think his was only one, right?
I don't know if Todd
college.
Gurley could even use. I mean,
Yeah.
you talk about a guy who completely fell off a cliff after some of those injuries. I mean,
Well, he had a couple of good seasons, though, is what I'm saying. Like, again, not a Hall of Fame career or anything, but he was serviceable. But that does, to me, the Trevor Etienne pick does make more sense now to me. That this was obviously something they knew was going to happen, right? To happen this quickly after the draft, like this was planned. There was no chance he was playing this year.
I already had that feeling with Rico Dowdle getting signed. I felt like that was the writing on the wall that they didn't plan on playing Brooks this year.
Well, we knew he was not going to start the season, right? We knew it was likely going to be middle of the season at best, right?
Yeah.
So
I thought when they signed him, I thought they had a plan of not playing him this year. Like that, they wanted a two-headed running back stable, and with Dowdle and Chuba, there wasn't room for him at that. I don't see.
Yeah. Well, again, Etienne. Again, I'll say it. I've said it 1,000 times. I'll say it again. I would draft a running back every single draft. I don't see a reason not to. You're going to hit on one eventually, right? And a tight end for sure. Maybe two, but yeah. I mean, I still like the pick. It's still probably my least favorite pick, but it's like, B+ instead of an A, right? Like I still really like it. So, but that wasn't the only news today, Jerry. Let's talk a little bit about the defensive line. One of the big signings we had last year that we thought was maybe going to be a little more fruitful than it actually was Jadeveon Clowney. Brought in, kind of a hometown type of guy, brought him home. His season was not as, at least from a stats perspective, not as successful as you would hope. I think he had 5.5 sacks last year. coming off of 9.5 the previous season. This may be his worst season from a stats perspective, or from a sack perspective, that he's had. He was cut today. He was released. I know you have some pretty strong feelings about this.
Yeah, I kind of saw this coming in the sense that after the draft, there was release that the Panthers were looking to trade him during the draft. Mm-hmm. So at that point, I had a feeling that he was going to be gone. But I just don't understand the reason of getting rid of him. I know you save $7.5 million in cap space, which is a lot of money. You could sign somebody with that, a decent name. But it felt like we have so much unproven in this rotation of our edge rushers. We have DJ Wanham, who played decently last year when he actually got to play. We got Pat Jones, who played decent in Minnesota, but hasn't really been anything special before that. And then we have Nick Skowronen and Princely drafted. Other than that, we have no one. I mean, DJ Johnson is DJ Johnson. Amari Barno is Amari Barno, you know. It felt like getting rid of a proven guy who can at least do something, especially if you could rotate him in and kind of keep that 31-year-old body fresh. I felt, especially with our secondary kind of being weak, in my opinion. I would have preferred to keep extra pass rushers instead of releasing him.
Yeah, I get it. And I did misspeak. So this was not his lowest sack total in his career. He had 3 in 2019, playing 13 games, 0 in 2020, playing 8 games, 2 in 2022, playing 12 games. So 5.5 here, playing 14 games. He's just one of those players that's up and down, right? He'll have a 9-sack season, and he'll have a 5-sack season, and this just happened to be a 5-sack seson.
Oh, I'm not saying he's the best world beater. I would prefer to have a rotation of guys, especially with two of your main guys haven't played a snap in the NFL, and the other 2 guys have been backups up until DJ Wanham last year and the year before, and Patrick Jones last year was his only starting season. So it just feels like a risk, in my opinion, for a defense that was already not that good last year.
Yeah, I see your point for sure. I just wanted to clarify what I wanted to correct what I said.
Yeah.
But I see your point. How much money did you say they were going to save?
I believe it was like $7.5 million.
Yeah, I think $7.5 million for 5 sacks is too much. I understand the thought process behind, you want depth in the rotation, everything like that. I just don't know how much he was really adding. And if you're going to have him play a lower snap count anyway, he played 650 snaps last season, like I said, 14 games. You want to cut that in half and pay $7.5 million for 300 snaps? I mean, I don't know that that's worth it from a business perspective. You can spend that money on someone who's going to be more, have more of an impact, right? Mm-hmm. You potentially even another defensive lineman who could have 5 sacks, right? Like, I mean, I'm not sure who's out there. I'd have to take a look, but
I mean, I don't view them taking anybody in right now. I will say that.
But they'll save that money after cuts are done. Like there are going to be players out there who probably could potentially have more of an impact to the Panthers this season than Jadeveon Clowney.
I just don't. I don't know, man. I felt like that was not a horrible deal for a starting linebacker, even if he only gets you 5-6 sacks. Like, that's still not horrible. Again, I was viewing him more as a rotation guy at this point.
What do you think Dan Morgan and Dave Canales were thinking when they made this? Because you're right, it's not a ton of money, right? So why don't they want him on the team?
I think they want to go young. I think that they want to get a lot younger. I think they signed him last year in the hopes that we have nobody. We have nobody, and we fixed our offensive line, so we have nobody on defense. Let's get a guy that we can put out there. It just, I don't know. I feel like they really want to run with Patrick Jones, DJ Wanham, and let Skowronen and Princely get more reps. That would be my guess, is that it was let's get the younger guys reps more.
Well, I mean, there's something to that, right?
Yeah.
You want those guys to play. You drafted them, in the second and third round. You went and you paid money for Pat Jones. You're gonna hopefully have Wanham healthy for the whole season.
Yeah.
Outside of depth, there really is no reason to keep Clown, and that's a $7.5 million depth piece, and he's actually being paid $13.5 million. I think was how much. I know the cap savings are different, but that's how much he was being paid. So you know, I
I,
understand why they got rid of him. And I kind of agree with it. I was not impressed watching him play last season. I was always excited and surprised when he actually got to the quarterback, but I saw way more snaps where he just was a non-factor. We talked about it in a lot of our game recaps. I mean, I think he was even our zero of the game a few times
yeah.
because he just did nothing.
And part of
He
that
was just
also
not
could
out there.
and I hate saying this, but it also could have been partly because of the simple fact that there was no one beside him. There was Shy Tuttle did absolutely nothing, and I'm sure he had to keep an eye on the run game because of that. That our run defense was so bad. I look, I'm not. I get where they were coming from on releasing him. I understand it. You're saving a good bit of money. You could probably go out and get another safety, which I think that's what their plan is. Maybe another cornerback eventually, something like that. But
Mhm.
maybe I'm an odd person in the fact that I would prefer to just keep rotating those pass rushers in this league. Keep them fresh, keep them hungry. But I get it.
Again, it's different. It's different strategies, right? Like you know, so we're gonna have. It looks like 15 to $20 million in cap space once this is processed and everything. I love having that much money, you know, after the draft, right? When training camps come around and guys start getting cut, I
And,
think that $7.5 million is really going to come in handy.
and you are going to think that about $10 million is coming off the books for these rookie contracts.
Right. Sure.
So,
Sure.
but
So even still, you're gonna have 10 to 12 million, something like that, left
and
over.
like I said, I expect us to sign a safety. I think Blackman that was here. I think Julian Blackman
Mhm.
would probably be the one I would prefer to get out of
Yeah, I think he's
Indianapolis.
got a few suitors,
Yeah,
but I think he certainly I would agree he would be the one that I would want. Not the best safety in the league, but probably certainly the best one available right now,
yeah. I
and
mean,
probably fits our system.
fits our system. I think right now you can't bank on our fourth round rookie. I can't ransom coming in and
Hmm.
playing right away. Demarni Richards was a nice story for an undrafted guy, but I don't want him back there lone wolfing it. I
Ideally,
mean,
no. Yeah,
I mean, I
yeah.
not try and knock him, but no.
Well,
So
we want somebody a little more established for sure back there.
a little bit more
Um,
talented at this point. I mean,
yeah,
he
yeah,
played okay for an undrafted guy, but we still weren't great.
right. Well, yeah, they got Mooring, right? They
Yeah,
signed
they got
him.
Mornig as more of
Yeah.
the strong. He's more of a strong safety in the box type of linebacker or safety. He can play free
Yeah.
safety before, so that's why I think right now I would lean more towards Blackham. But
Agreed. Agreed. And we'll see what happens there. But if they sign him tomorrow, right, or within the next week, does that change your opinion on this move? If that's
no,
what they use that money to go and shore up a position, arguably that was even in worse position or worse shape
I will
than
say
the edge
safety was
rusher.
in worse shape. Is
Yeah.
still in worse shape without
Right.
Clowney, but
Right.
I don't know. I just am also to the thought of if you get in the quarterback's face, those safeties don't have to hold as long. So you can.
Yeah, but he wasn't getting in the quarterback's face. That's the thing. Like he wasn't. He
But there
wasn't
was
very good
nothing
last
else
year.
around him. That's the problem.
I understand that, but this is a guy who has had this career. Like, what are you going to get out of him next year? If you
I,
could count on 9 sacks, great, keep him. But it's probably not going to be that, especially if he's playing less snaps.
I wish we
Of
had
course,
like.
maybe he's one of those guys that plays less snaps and is able to go 100% every time. Maybe he does fit that better. I don't know. I think
Yeah.
I would have been. I think my position is I'd have been fine with whatever they chose to do with Clowney. Like getting rid of him, it doesn't concern me one bit. Like I get to see Princely out there for a lot more snaps, Scouting out there for a lot more snaps. To me, that's a win for us. Clowney, again, depth piece, sure, but I hope he doesn't play. Like, I wouldn't want him out there.
Okay. If you're that way, then if you don't want to see him out there, then I get that. And I am not saying I don't completely understand the thought process of releasing him. I just also, I love hitting quarterbacks. I think that's the way to play this NFL game.
Well, then you're not a Clowney fan.
So he did have 6 sacks according to PFF, so 5.5. So they credit him for the full one. But he also had 44 pressures. So
44 pressures, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, his PFF grades aren't bad. Like, he had a 70.8 overall grade last year, which is slightly above average.
Mm-hmm.
His pass rush grade was 73.2, which is slightly above average, and his run defense was right on average at 63.4. Yeah. So, of all the things wrong with the defense last year, he probably isn't in the top 10, right, of things that were wrong with the defense. He just wasn't someone who...
He's not a world beater.
Who he didn't elevate. He didn't elevate the defense. And those 44 pressures are, it looks like, slightly above average, right? He is 38th out of 211 edge rushers. So
yeah, and he's 30th overall pass rush grade out of 211. So, right. I mean, again, he's not a world beater. I wasn't maybe I was expecting more of this, maybe 7-8 sacks, maybe not, 5-6. But that was kind of what I was expecting out of him. Yeah, I was hoping Wanham would have played more, and I was expecting him to be more the speed, get to the quarterback guy. So, and Wanham only played 8 games, so...
Yeah, Wanham played 8 games, and I'm looking right now, so...
I think he had 4 sacks.
4.5 of Clowney's 5.5 sacks came after Wanham returned.
Exactly.
So they came in those final 8 games.
Yeah, because that's when teams couldn't just, hey, we have one pass rusher, let's block him.
Yeah, I mean, again, you're probably, I don't think anything you're saying is wrong, right? I think it's just different philosophies.
No, 100%. And I agree with both of what we say. I could agree that I see your point, and you agree to see my point. It's just, it's different philosophies, like you said.
Yeah.
Wait.
Lost.
This is a good contact. Should we just yell at each other for no reason? Because
I do want to say the Panthers lost their first game last year, 47-2. Just in case we all forgot that.
Oh God, that was such an ugly game. Oh man, this year's gonna be different, guys.
47-2, God, man. And then we lost the next one, 26-3. And I remember that. I remember it, like we had given up like 60 points and only scored 13, and the season was over. The season was over at that point.
Yeah.
Just ridiculous. But hey, that's I agree. That's not going to happen this season. All right. What other? A couple other pieces of news, right?
Yes. You're about to be heartbroken. Another tight end was released. Jordan Matthews. Jordan Matthews was released.
Yeah. I was high on Jordan Matthews.
I know you were.
Last year. Like, I really wanted him to work out. It was certainly optimism on my part. There was nothing in Jordan Matthews' history as playing tight end that suggested he was going to do anything, even make the team. But I thought he looked pretty dang good in preseason last year. I mean, he was the guy moving the ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he'll be back. That's my prediction. He'll be back.
It wouldn't shock me. I cannot remember his name. The tight end that's a former basketball star
for Granger or something.
Granger,
right?
That's it.
Yeah.
Was also released. He pulled a hammy and they released him. I feel bad for the kid. That was one of those
long shots anyway, right?
Yeah, I feel bad because he's coming into rookie minicamp, pulls a hamstring, and can't go. And at that point, are they really going to bring you in? Probably not.
Especially not after drafting a tight end who's almost like a 6'5" tight end. Now, this guy was 6'8", former basketball player. So they, bringing him in hoping they could catch some Jimmy Graham magic or something. But, not to be. At least not with the Panthers. At least not right now.
Yeah, and you never know. He may come back to some practice squad if he,
Sure.
gets back in shape or something.
Probably the best thing for him is to be on a practice squad, right? Like get those reps without having to, face the pressure of actual game situations. But I do like the fact that they tried.
Mm-hmm.
They brought him in. They worked him out. They wanted to see what he could do. I don't remember the Ron Rivera Panthers doing that a lot, and certainly not the Frank Reich Panthers or Matt Rule Panthers. Like, no, but they weren't bringing in these freak athlete guys who don't have any football background just to see what could happen. Like, I like teams doing that, and I agree with you. It sucks that he hurt his hand. But
yeah, I mean, I wish he could have made it to minicamp or rookie minicamp. Yeah. It stinks.
I think he'd have been a fan favorite out there. He'd have been one that, but not that anybody's actually going to get to go to camp, but the reporters would have enjoyed watching him.
Yes. Yes, 100%. Other than that, I'm not going to talk about anybody else being released, as there wasn't anybody that was worthwhile to mention. Rookie minicamp does start Friday, which will, by the time this is released, you'll be that day. All rookies have been signed except for 2, which is Nick Scouridon and Trevor Etienne. That being said, I expect them to be signed tonight, which is Thursday night, or Friday sometime. The main one is...
I don't think they even have to be signed to show up to camp either. I think they can show up to camp without being signed.
But usually they don't want to practice or do anything until they sign, because God forbid you blow out your knee on rookie minicamp and then
Yeah.
But
man, can you imagine if Trevor Etienne blew his knee out and he hadn't signed his deal? Like, he was holding out for some guarantee or something, and then he just, like,
don't put that bad.
His career's over. Like, I know, I hate it, but I hope it doesn't happen. But man, that would just be what terrible luck we'd have with running backs if that happened.
Yeah.
Don't draft another.
But T-Mac is signed. That's the big one. Princely's signed. Yeah. That's a good one. Again, I don't expect these guys not to be signed soon.
And they're not going to be out there with pads. They're not going to be out there hitting each other. Or they're just getting out there working out in shorts probably, and getting their playbooks and all that stuff. So, again, I would expect those guys to show up. They may not work out, right? They may not be on the field, but they'll be there getting the mental reps, getting their playbooks, things like that. So, hey, man, I'm happy when anything in the NFL is happening, and minicamp is one of those things. So, excited about that, but it's a long way until training camp. It's starting to feel the pressure of no football.
Oh yeah.
Now there's some good sports happening, but football is king.
Oh man, I am all in on Charlotte FC right now. Like, I got the MLS pass. I'm gonna be watching their weekly games. They're playing well.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm gonna try to get myself into. The wife is into it too, so it's like nice. I can put it on and she's not like begrudgingly looking at me, so that's always a plus.
Very nice. Yeah, I want to take the kids to a game. I hear it's not that expensive. One of my coworkers went. She paid like $40 for tickets, and she was right down near the field. So
oh yeah, dude,
it's not that expensive.
The stadium is crazy. It is crazy. I know they don't have the upper bowl filled.
Right.
Man, it's a fun time. For
an MLS game, they're drawing like crazy. They're great. It's great numbers.
When you go, there is one section. I don't know what section it is. I'm sure someone knows it, but there's that fan thing. They are constantly dancing, waving flags. It is awesome looking. I'm like, man, that I want to go over there and party one day.
It's not the supporter section or something, right?
Yeah, it's something like that, but it's raucous and nice fun. In a nice, fun, ruckus looking thing.
Good. Yeah, I'm glad. Of all the things that David Tepper has done that have sucked, bringing Charlotte FC is not one. That was a win. Yeah,
that was a win.
All right. Well, I don't know. Anything else you want to chat about here?
No, I think that's it. I mean, we've been going for 25 minutes, so that's kind of what I was expecting with this mini episode.
Well, Jay, what's up? Glad you're still with us. Um, we're gonna be talking some 2024 draft here coming up soon, with a special focus on one player, and we're gonna kind of go over that draft a little bit, and we might even pull some clips from our draft recap. Jerry and I both listened to that episode recently just to hear our thoughts about the draft, and I gotta say, I was very high, very, very high
You
on
were
that draft.
very high.
Very high on that draft. So we're gonna revisit that and kind of talk about what we expect year two from some of these guys, and are some of their careers already over? Probably not, but uh, that's what First Take would say. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I hate the hot takes all
I'm
the
gonna
time.
tell you why Xavier Legette will not play another down in the NFL.
Okay, Stephen A.
I'm sorry, brother. I love you, but you are trash.
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, I
All
hate
right.
saying it, but the Panther fans are so much like that too. Like,
It really is. The Panthers' Twitter is a disaster.
guys, come
It
on.
really
I showed you, man. Not everyone comes out their rookie season as a Hall of Famer, man. There's got guys who need time to develop. Their
Yeah.
coaching
Well,
wasn't the best. They
I'm looking forward to that conversation because I feel like you're more optimistic on specifically Xavier Legette than I am moving forward, and I think maybe even than the Panthers are moving forward, just based on this past draft. But I'm excited to talk about that. And what else? I wanted to say something else. Oh, something else I'd seen on Panthers Twitter. Guys, all right, let's calm down a little bit. Okay, let's calm down a little. Saying that the Panthers are easily going to win 10 games this
Oh
year, and
God, yes, please stop.
and 12 games would not surprise you. Well, let's calm down. First of all, 12 wins should surprise anybody who's alive, right? That would be insane.
That
I
would
would love
be.
to see it. It would be insane, and very much likely not to happen. 10 wins I would be ecstatic. I do not expect 10 wins either. But I would love it. I don't think we're a shoe-in for anywhere close to 10 wins. Again, not to say that when we go through our schedule and everything that I won't predict 10 wins. I very well may. But we're in May. Let's hold our horses.
I think right now reasonable expectation 7-8 wins. I think that would be a
Yeah.
reasonable, hopeful expectation.
Yeah, I mean we won. Well, we
5
won
games.
five.
Yeah.
5 games.
But most in the
Yeah,
later half of the season, just
let's try to get up around 500 this year. Like that shouldn't be the goal. The goal should always be to try to win the division, go to the Super Bowl. But in terms of our fandom, we should be happy with like 9 wins. Like that, to me, would show major improvement. We would still have, likely a top 15 draft pick to, get another good player next year. I mean, that to me would set up a really, really good 2026. But we'll see what happens.
And we're dropping so much cap space next year.
Yeah.
In the off season. So if there is a guy that we want to go out and get, if there's a rock star cornerback or something like that we want to back up Brink's truck, we could do it. We can also pay Bryce Young if he proves that he's the dude. I mean, there's a lot to look forward to. But again, 12 wins it's really let's not hype ourselves up to that point, guys.
Let's not set ourselves up to be disappointed when we win 8 games. All right?
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. 8 games, it would be fantastic. I would be very happy with that. Especially if we're in all of them, right? I just need to see more improvement. That's all.
I mean, think about where we were a couple of years ago. We weren't recording this hardly at all because we were so downtrodden. We were worse than the Browns. We were literally looking at ourselves as, oh my God, we're the new Browns. Guess what? The Browns are still Browns. Thank God.
They are 100% still the Browns. And hopefully we can become the Panthers again, because I feel like that what we have had the last 5 years or so has just not resembled the team that I grew up loving and rooting for, and became a giant part of my life. I hope that we get back to that. I hope that we get back to having an organization we can be proud of, an organization that the league kind of looks up to, because I feel like for a long time we were that. People wanted to come play here. Fans showed up in droves every single week. We sold out that stadium for years and years and years. Now you get PSLs for $1, if you have to pay anything for them. Like, people are just trying to give seats away. Let's get back to where we can be proud of our team. Be proud to be Panthers. Right? That's all.
All right, we want
That's
to thank.
Not too much to ask. Is it?
No, I think this year we're going in the upward trajectory again, and I feel that. So we want to thank everyone for listening. If you like the show, please let your friends know. Please follow us on Twitter at MeowMixPodcast. And if you have any questions or comments, you can email us at mailbag@meowmixpodcast.com. Please like and subscribe on YouTube. I always forget that.
Yes, please like and subscribe. Happy late 5th birthday to my youngest son. Turned 5 last week. We will be having his birthday party this weekend. So, Jerry, looking forward to seeing you there. And we'll be back with this podcast either next week or early the week after. We'll see how things work out with our schedules. But until then, everybody stay safe out there and keep pounding.